This is a topic that has been in my head for quite some time, and I feel like a lot of people have also thought this way about these certain cards, and that is these OTK enablers like Access Code, Boral Sword, even something more obscure like Utopia Double and stuff like that. I feel like OTKing in general has become way easier in modern day Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's just because of power creep. Obviously, when you have these broken boss monsters, you just can't like make like a ton of negate cards like once per turn, negate this card, destroy it, etc., etc. It also has to be like OTK enablers. Okay, let's build this monster that can boost its attack by 3,000 attack, and then it can pop cards. And if you have another monster on the field that has 27 attack or more, you can OTK and something like that. Or if you have Boral Sword, if you have another monster with like 2,000 or more attack, and you attack with the Boral Sword twice and that monster, that's pretty much OTK, etc., etc. Back in the day, it used to not be that easy. Like you had dedicated decks that were OTKing, like Fish OTK. You had Cyberstein OTK. You had all these different OTKs. I can't think of it. Benkai OTK. Like all these crazy OTKs. Like they were dedicated to OTK, and it wasn't like, oh, I'm playing Dragon Lake and I can make an access code or Boral Sword. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like I'm playing fucking any Cybers deck in the game. I can go transcode into Update Jammer, into access code, whatever, and OTK like that. It was never like that. You had specific OTKs, you had Colossal Fighter combos and stuff like that, but it was really rare until like the Arc V era. Like the Arc, I feel like the Arc V era kind of boomed that to the max because we had so many OTK enablers. There used to be stuff like BLS back in Shadal, BA, Teleknight format. Teleknights couldn't OTK. Burning Abyss could, I doubt it. But more importantly, Shadals used to be able to OTK because they had like the black and white dragon. They had, all the Shadal cards being able to summon out a Construct, and then the quick play spell being able to summon another monster. And then you had all these bomb cards like Black Rose Dragon to wipe the board so you can easily OTK. And then you used to have stuff like BLS in the format that can help you OTK as well. So there was just a bunch of things like that. And as we progressed into the meta, even though we had stuff like Necroz that really didn't OTK, they just set up a board turn one and just like grind it out. But as we got further and further, especially with the Link era, when we got stuff like, as I said before, Boral Sword Dragon, that card is just insane. And you had all these decks that can just spit out monsters like crazy, like Spiral and Goki and stuff like that. It's just super crazy. And then we have stuff like the crazy stuff, like when I'm talking about the Numeron stuff, like I don't think there was ever like a one card OTK. Yeah, there's one card combos obviously, and they probably could OTK going second, but it's harder to do it going second because you not only have to deal with hand traps, but you also have to deal with stuff like trap cards and negation and all that, etc., etc. So it's a bit different with that. But even when you talk about like going second, we have something like access code being so easy to like crack a board and OTK with. It kind of just sucks because I feel like a lot of players lose that type of skill to OTK because they think of access code. If they can make access code, they're just gonna make it, even though there might be a better line to OTK with if you just summon 3,000 attack monsters and a 2,000 attack monster. That's 8,000. But no, let's go access code and then gain attack and then summon. You get what the point is. The point is a lot of people lack the skill of OTKing without these OTK enablers, and I feel like that's just what modern Yu-Gi-Oh has for us today. But I don't know. I'm not saying that these cards should be banned, like Access Code and Boral Sword Dragon, etc., etc. There's probably other ones that I can't think of right now, but those are like the main two cards that kind of sparked up discussions back when they were released. Like when Boral Sword was out, everybody was trying to Boral Sword OTK. Access Code came out, that card was broken. It's still fucking broken. It's insane that an OTK enabler can also pop cards. Like it's literally 2020 Dark Arm Dragon. Just think, and it can gain attack. Like, dude, and it's super generic. It's like you don't need specifically 3 darks in the graveyard. I believe it's 3 darks. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's like 3 darks, right? But is it 3 or 5? Man, I can't think. But the point is, OTKing is so ridiculous right now. It's actually crazy. And I feel like I don't want it to be banned, but the access code is probably like super close to ban worthy. That's the thing about these OTK enablers. they will never be banned. They will never be banned because they're not necessarily broken. Like when I think of broken, I think of Halka Firebreaks. I think of, you know, Verte being able to splash it and everything, even though you could kind of do that with access code as well. You think of these insane monster cards that can special summon from deck. We have the Sprite Gigantic that is coming out in like a month or so. Like all these other ban-worthy cards. And then you have something like access code that is between like okay and ban-worthy. And I don't know how to describe it. And there's a lot of cards that fall under it. It's not even just the OTK enablers. Another card that's like a Link 4, Apollousa. Apollousa is another card that's just, it's between really good and ban-worthy. And I feel like that the access code and all these OTK enablers, they're all in that kind of middle ground. They're not really that broken, but they're not really average. They're like really, really strong, good cards. And when you talk about these cards, it's a reason why a lot of these Charmer cards are really good, because you can go Charmer, summon back something from graveyard, which also Charmers are like really broken. That's another type of cards that are just really good. And they'll probably just never be banned because they're just, I don't know how to describe it, but they're just like okay cards. So like, they're not really that broken, but they're so close to being ban worthy because they're just so generically good. But cards like that being able to go climb up into access code is also kind of insane. So it's not just the fact that access code plus another monster could potentially be OTK, but you have so many easy ways to get to it because it's 2+ effect monsters. Borosword was a little bit harder, but you had stuff like the nightmares that made it just way more ridiculous. And even the nightmare cards, that's another type of card that's just really, really insane, because not only do they have the utility of popping a monster or a back row or spinning the card, you can climb up into these broken cards like Apollousa, access code, Borosword Dragon, etc., etc. So I don't know how to feel about these certain type of cards. Let me know what you guys think about OTK enablers. I feel like it used to be something special. As I said before, you had all these older decks that used to be able to OTK, but you had to have specific situations, and it wasn't just go up in the access code and summon another monster, GG no re. It was basically like a specific combo. You summon like this big synchro monster, and then you might have this card in the graveyard, Monster Reborn, bring it back, and then summon BLS or something like that, attack, GG. Like, it wasn't just so simple as just summoning a monster and then summoning another monster and GG. It was way more difficult than that. But let me know what you guys think about this topic. I didn't go really crazy on like, oh my god, hot take. I don't think this is really that big of a hot take. I feel like a lot of people have thought that something like Borosword Dragon access code probably shouldn't exist, but it is what it is. It's just modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, you're gonna have power creep to where you have to have these certain type of mechanics, like OTKing, just be super insane, just like how special summoning from the deck is more insane. You have the, as I said before, Sprite Gigantic, whatever the card is called. That card is just basically LP 2022. Like, it's just crazy to see how OTKing has evolved throughout the years, and especially throughout the Arc V era, because I feel like that's when OTKing became just super easy in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I am out. Peace.